In our last lesson, we looked at cellular extraction and an early step in protein purification, salt fractionation. Let's look at what might be the next step in our purification, size exclusion chromatography. Chromatography in general has to do with the differential separation of compounds based on partitioning between two phases. The stationary phase is intended to be selective in retarding the flow of the sample, contributing to the separation of components. The mobile phase is the liquid portion that migrates through the stationary phase. Compounds to be separated partition into each of these two phases to varying degrees, and this accomplishes the separation. In column chromatography, the stationary phase is packed into a column. The sample is applied to the top of the column, and the mobile phase is added. As the stopcock of the column is opened, the mobile phase moves toward the bottom of the column. Sample components spend varying amounts of time partitioning between the stationary and mobile phases, thereby separating the components of the sample. Size exclusion or gel filtration is one type of column chromatography. In this case, the separation is based on differences in size or molecular weight. The stationary phase is composed of spherical gel particles that are internally cross-linked to generate a pore. The extent of cross-linking determines the pore size. Gel particles are typically built from one of two different polymers, acrylamide shown on the right or agarose shown on the left. Because the gel particles have a certain pore size, any molecules larger than that size are fully excluded from entering the stationary phase. This means that they remain in the mobile phase and move rapidly to the bottom of the column. In the elution profile shown here, you can see that the larger molecules, pictured as green spheres, eluded from the column first. Those molecules whose size allows them to fit inside the pore will spend some time inside the gel particles, the stationary phase, and some time in the mobile phase. This means that they migrate more slowly down the column. In our illustration, the smaller molecules are the red spheres and were the last to elute or come off the column. Size exclusion can be an effective method for purifying protein, but is typically used earlier in the process. Since the separation is based solely on size, it distinguishes only crudely between various proteins.